Our next speaker is Senator Jack Reed. He's fought tirelessly on behalf of students around the country, helping to make college affordable, and he helped pass the largest investment in college aid in history. Senator Jack Reed succeeded Clyburn Pell as Rhode Island's 43rd senator. Like Senator Pell, Reed is a champion of higher education and a fierce protector of the Pell Grants. He believes that education should not be limited to a lucky few, but the right of every American with skill and determination. Reed has been working on this issue long before it made national headlines. He introduced the Student Loan Affordability Act back in January of 2012. Senator Jack Reed.
Thanks, Ann. Thank you. Thanks very much, Ann, for your inspiring words. I also want to thank my colleague and friend, Senator Tom Harkin, who along with Senator Sherrod Brown have really been leading this effort and moving it forward. We have a deadline, 25 days left. Congress has to act before the interest rate is doubled. And as Ann indicated, it was January, much colder day, when I was here with Representative Joe Courtney to introduce the Student Loan Affordability Act. And at that time, there was significant Republican opposition. In fact, their budget reflected doubling of the rate. But we've seen a little thawing. We're not quite there yet, but we've seen a little thawing since that cold January day. We are closer, but we're not there. Back in January, many Republicans scoffed at the idea. But thanks to students and families across the country, they've raised their voices, they've made themselves heard. Congress is finally beginning to get the message to fix the student loan interest rate. It matters to middle-income Americans all across this country. It matters to people who are trying to build better lives for themselves, to their parents who want to see the dream of a college education a reality for their children. It matters to our shared economic future because the single most important investment we can make in a productive and prosperous America is the education of our young people. So let me thank groups like the Campus Progress, the USSA, the US PIRG, Young Invincibles, and Rebuild the Dream, that you've pushed this issue to the forefront. We're getting close, and we can't stop now. We've got to keep marching forward. We've now shifted from the issue of if we do this to how do we do this. And we continue to get mixed signals from the Republicans. Governor Romney claimed that he doesn't want the interest rate to double, but hasn't said much since then. He's not taking the lead, as I think he should in this era. Last week, Speaker Boehner apparently told his members behind closed doors that we wouldn't act before July 1st. But after those remarks became public, suddenly there's a new proposal for new offsets, like changes to student loan programs on Medicaid. But that would just take resources from those who are struggling already, low and middle income Americans, to pay for this issue of the student fix. The fact is that fixing the student loan interest rate has never been on their priority list, but with these students and our efforts, it's getting there, and we've got to make sure it gets across the finish line. We're eager to work to a serious bipartisan solution, but we shouldn't pay for this program by cutting other important programs in education and health care. Every year I hold a financial aid workshop for students and parents up in Rhode Island, the people who are trying to figure out how do they get their children through college. And the same advice that applies there applies here. We've got to start talking early and honestly. We've got to do our homework. We've got to make sound decisions. We've got to get this across the finish line. It's a priority. It has to get done.